Masks don't control viruses. They control people. It's not a small thing to wear a mask. And it's damaging to our society and devastating to our children, which is why I'm here again. I just returned from Washington, D.C., where I was invited to speak at the White Coat Summit, and I reviewed a bunch of this literature. Now, in spite of what you heard, there's only been only one randomized controlled trials of the kind of masks that most of you have on, these cloth masks. 97% of the particles pass through, and you could test this yourself by just coughing with your hand in front of it. But it also showed that people that wore cloth masks actually had 6 times more chance of having an influenza-like illness, viral upper respiratory disease. So it wasn't without risk. The Norwegian government of health just showed that they would have to mask 200,000 people in order to decrease transmission of COVID by 1 person a week. And the CDC, its own numbers in July showed that in both, they looked at people with COVID, people that didn't get sick, and in both categories, 85% of people said they always or usually wore a mask. 3.9% of people in the infected group, or the COVID group, said they never wore a mask. And finally, I know we mentioned Sweden, and people are making fun of Sweden, saying it isn't what they say, but here's true. 1.8 million children were never kept out of school. They're not wearing masks, no deaths, and the teachers are not getting this at any greater risk than the background population. Now, when I was out at the Washington, D.C. summit, I actually had a chance to hear Dr. Brian Tyson. This guy set up an urgent care in the poorest county in America. He screened 20,000 people. He treated over 1,900 people for COVID. He had 0 deaths. He had 1 hospitalization. Now, why are we being told, the problem that you're hearing here is you're being told, oh, we have to put on masks because it's the only thing that can save our hospitals and save people from dying. No, what you're not being told is that there are very good protocols for aggressive early outpatient treatment of this virus that's saving lives, but is being censored off the internet. Even Peter McCullough from Baylor censored off the internet. Brian Tyson. I mean, these things, the stuff is out there, and we're not being told. 40% of our deaths are in nursing home patients in Nebraska. For $5 a week, we could be prophylaxing them. We could be doing 2 tablets of hydroxychloroquine, zinc, C, and D. This has been well worked out other places. Again, it's being censored. Now, I get it that you guys are being put in a tough position because you're being told things and you're kind of feeling like, well, if I don't pass this mandate, then all these deaths and this problem and the hospitals being overrun are on my head. No, that's on the head of the medical authorities that are ignoring the increasingly obvious evidence that we have treatment that works as an outpatient to prevent hospitalization. But what is on your head is the mask problem. And I had the opportunity to sit next to a pediatric psychiatrist when I was in Washington, D.C., and I talked to him and I asked him a simple question. If we stop masking tomorrow, would their children still be damaged, or would it go away? And he said no, they would still be damaged. Not all of them. But the problem is that the most vulnerable among us, the smaller children, the children that have already had problems that don't come from stable homes, those are the ones that are going to carry lifelong problems from this. But as Cameron Crowe said, every second that passes is a chance to turn it all around. I think it's a moral obligation not to do this, especially for our children, when there are other options. That's the point. There are other options. I urge doctors and I urge you to not just take what the authorities are saying. We've gone down that road before. It's time for independent thinking and really looking at the literature about this. It's convincing and it can save a lot of lives. Thank you.